Please stop, Nora said, raising one hand across the interview table. Don't give me the answer you memorized. Just talk to me. Leila's mouth stayed open, but no words came out. She knew what she wanted to say. The answer was clear in Arabic. She could hear every sentence inside her head. First, she needed to change the sentences into English. Then she had to check the grammar. Then she had to choose the right tense. But Nora was waiting. The silence became longer. I'm sorry, Leila said at last. Can you repeat the question? Nora looked at the paper in front of her. The question was simple. A guest arrives early, but their room isn't ready. They're tired and angry. What would you say? Leila looked down at her hands. She had worked at the Seabrook Hotel in Dublin for almost 3 years. She cleaned rooms, prepared breakfast tables, and sometimes helped guests with their bags. She had seen this situation many times. She knew exactly what to do. But she couldn't find the perfect English sentence. I would inform the guest that the cleaning process is currently, she began. Nora leaned back. Leila, would you really say that to a tired person? Leila's face became hot. No. What would you really say? Again, Leila heard the answer in Arabic. I'm very sorry. Your room will be ready soon. Please sit in the lounge. I'll bring you some tea, and I'll call you the moment the room is ready. The words were there, but they were behind a closed door. I don't know, she whispered. Nora closed the interview folder. Leila's heart dropped. The receptionist position had been her goal for more than a year. It paid better than housekeeping, but money wasn't the only reason she wanted it. She wanted to speak to people. She wanted to solve problems. She wanted to feel like more than the quiet woman who pushed a cleaning cart through the halls. Nora's voice became softer. You do know, Leila, I've watched you work. You understand the guests. You notice problems before other people do. But when you speak, you disappear into your head. Leila said nothing. You're translating every sentence, aren't you? Leila slowly nodded. I have to, she said. How can I speak English without thinking first? You should think, Nora replied. But you're not thinking about the situation. You're thinking about language. Leila looked toward the window. Rain moved down the glass in thin lines. So I didn't get the job. Not today. The words hurt more because Nora said them kindly. Leila stood and picked up her bag. Before she reached the door, Nora spoke again. I can offer you something else. Leila turned. For the next 7 days, I need someone at the breakfast reception desk. You'll welcome guests, check room numbers, answer simple questions, and handle small problems. Leila stared at her. You want me to work at the desk after this interview? I want to see the real Leila, not the woman, reading translated sentences inside her head. What if I make mistakes? You will. Leila wasn't. Sure, if Nora was joking. Nora continued. The question is not whether you'll make mistakes. The question is whether you'll keep speaking after them. Leila wanted to refuse. 7 mornings at the desk could show everyone that her English wasn't good enough. But refusing would also prove that fear controlled her. When do I start? She asked. Tomorrow, 6:30. The next morning, Leila arrived 20 minutes early. Thomas, the night porter, was carrying a box of clean glasses toward the dining room. He was from Poland and had lived in Ireland for 11 years. You look like you're going to court, he said. I have to welcome breakfast guests. That's worse than court? For me, yes. Thomas put down the box. What's the problem? You speak English. Slow English. So? People don't want to wait while I translate. Then don't translate. Leila gave him an unhappy look. Everyone says that. Nobody explains how. Thomas pointed at the box. What's this? A box. What's inside? Glasses. What am I doing? Carrying them. You didn't translate those answers. They're easy. Exactly. Start with easy English. Your thoughts don't need to sound like a university book. He picked up the box again. When I first came here, I tried to build perfect sentences in Polish. Then I moved them into English. By the time I was ready, the conversation was over. What did you do? I started naming things. Door, table, tired, hungry, need help. Then the small words became small sentences. That sounds like a child learning. No, Thomas said. It sounds like a person learning. Before Leila could answer, the dining room doors opened. Her first guest was a tall man with silver hair and a serious face. Room 314, he said. 2 people. Leila checked the list. Mr. and Mrs. Ellis. Yes, my wife will come down later. Where can I get coffee? Leila began preparing a complete answer in Arabic. The coffee station is located beside the main window. Please help yourself, and a member of staff will bring fresh milk shortly. Mr. Ellis waited. Leila remembered Thomas's words. Small English. Coffee is by the window, she said. Fresh milk is coming now. Mr. Ellis looked toward the window. Thank you, that was all. He didn't laugh. He didn't correct her. He simply walked away. Leila welcomed 12 more guests. She made 2 grammar mistakes and forgot the English word for napkin. She pointed and said, "The white paper for your hands." A woman smiled and said, "Napkin?" "Yes, napkin, thank you." The woman took one and continued to her table. The world didn't end. During her break, Leila sat in the staff room and wrote 3 sentences in a small notebook. I don't need the longest sentence. I don't need the perfect word. I need to stay in the conversation. For the rest of the day, she tried to think in small English pieces. Going upstairs, room is empty. Need clean towels. I'm tired. I want tea. At first, the thoughts felt false, like someone else was speaking inside her mind. She kept returning to Arabic without noticing. Then she stopped fighting herself. When an English thought came, she used it. When an Arabic thought came, she let it pass and looked again at what was in front of her. By the 3rd morning, speaking felt a little faster. Then Mr. Ellis returned to the desk. My wife asked for porridge, he said. This is cold. Leila looked at the bowl in his hand. In Arabic, she formed a polite explanation about the breakfast service and the correct temperature of hot food. Halfway through the translation, she noticed Mr. Ellis watching her impatiently. She dropped the sentence. I'm sorry, she said. I'll bring a hot bowl. I don't want another bowl in 20 minutes. 3 minutes, Leila replied. I'll do it now. She carried the bowl into the kitchen herself. When she returned, Mr. Ellis checked the porridge with his spoon. Better, he said. Leila expected him to leave, but he remained at the desk. You understand English well, he said. Why do you look frightened every time you answer? The question surprised her. I'm trying not to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. You don't, mister. Ellis gave a short laugh. My wife would disagree. He carried the bowl back to his table. Leila watched him go for the first time. She wondered if his serious face meant something different from anger. On the 4th day, Nora asked Leila to answer the breakfast phone. The kitchen is busy, Nora explained. Guests may call for information or ask us to send something to their rooms. Leila's stomach tightened. Face-to-face conversations were difficult, but phone calls were worse. She couldn't see the speaker's hands or expression. The first call came from room 206. Breakfast ends at 10:30, Leila said. Yes, you can come down now. The second guest wanted more tea bags. I'll send them to your room. The third speaker talked so quickly that Leila understood only the words taxi, airport, and 11. Please speak more slowly, she said. The guest repeated the request. Leila booked the taxi without translating every detail. She wrote 3 important pieces of information. Room 418, airport 11 o'clock. By the end of the morning, she had answered 9 calls. She had also made a mistake. A guest asked for 2 fried eggs, but Leila sent 2 boiled eggs. When the guest called again, Leila apologized and corrected the order. For 10 minutes afterward, the mistake stayed inside her head. You aren't ready. You'll never speak naturally. Nora saw her standing silently beside the desk. What happened? I sent the wrong eggs. Did you correct it? Yes. Did the guest receive the right breakfast? Yes. Then the problem is finished. Why are you keeping it alive? Leila didn't have an answer. That evening, she called her younger brother, Yusuf, in Morocco. He asked about the hotel interview. I didn't get the position. Leila told him, I'm sorry, but I'm doing a trial at the breakfast desk. That sounds good. I made many mistakes. Did they send you home? No. Then maybe the mistakes are not as powerful as you think. Leila smiled. You sound like Nora. Who is Nora? My manager. Then Nora sounds very intelligent. After the call, Leila went to a nearby shop. Usually she planned every sentence before speaking to the cashier. This time, she picked up a loaf of bread and asked, Is this fresh today? The cashier replied, It came in this morning. Leila understood immediately. She didn't translate the answer. She simply thought, Good, I'll take it. As she walked home, she noticed that something had changed. It was small, but it was real. English had not passed through Arabic first. For one brief moment, it had gone directly from the world into her mind. On the 6th morning, the hotel became unusually busy. A storm had canceled several flights, and a group of tired travelers arrived before breakfast ended. At the same time, a pipe began leaking on the 2nd floor. Nora had to leave the dining room to speak with the maintenance team. Stay at the desk, she told Leila. Thomas will help with the new guests. Within minutes, people surrounded Leila. One man wanted to know if the hotel had an airport bus. A mother needed warm milk for her baby. 2 guests were arguing about a missing suitcase. The phone started ringing. Leila's old habit returned. She heard several Arabic sentences forming at once. She couldn't answer any of them. Excuse me, the man said. The airport bus. One moment, Leila replied. The mother moved closer. I only need some milk. The phone continued ringing. Leila felt the room becoming smaller. Her hands began to shake. Then Tomas appeared beside her. Look at one person, he said quietly. Solve one thing. Leila looked at the mother. Warm milk? Yes. Leila called into the kitchen. 1 warm milk, please, for a baby. Then she turned to the man. No hotel bus today. I can call a taxi. It will take 15 minutes next. She answered the phone. She didn't speak perfectly. She spoke clearly. Problem by problem, the crowd became smaller. A few minutes later, Mr. Ellis came running into the dining room. The calm, serious man was gone. His face was white. Have you seen my wife? Leila stood, Mrs. Ellis. She came down 10 minutes ago. I was getting her medicine. She wasn't in the room when I returned. Maybe she's in the dining room. I've checked. Does she have her phone? She left it upstairs. Mr. Ellis looked around wildly. She sometimes becomes confused. She forgets where she is. Leila understood. His wife had memory problems. How long has she been missing? I don't know. 10 minutes, 15. Mr. Ellis spoke faster. She may think we're at another hotel. She may try to go home. She doesn't know Dublin well. I should never have left her alone. Leila's mind filled with Arabic again. She wanted to find the most careful words. She wanted to comfort him correctly. She wanted to ask every question with perfect grammar. But there was no time. She looked directly at him. What was she wearing? A blue coat, gray trousers, white shoes. Does she have money? Maybe a little. Where does she think home is? Mr. Ellis stopped. What? You said she may try to go home. Where is home? York. In England. Leila turned to Tomas. Check the lobby and the street outside. Ask the doorman. She called Nora. Then she remembered something from the previous morning. Mrs. Ellis had asked her where she could buy postcards. Leila had pointed toward a small gift shop near the bus station. The bus station, Leila said. Mr. Ellis stared at her. What about it? Yesterday, your wife asked about the gift shop there. Maybe she remembered it. Mr. Ellis rushed toward the door. I'm coming with you, Leila said. You have to stay here. Thomas can take the desk. She didn't wait for permission. Outside, the rain was heavy. Leila and Mr. Ellis hurried along the wet street. He kept calling his wife's name. At the bus station, they searched the waiting area, the ticket office, and the gift shop. Mrs. Ellis wasn't there. Mr. Ellis leaned against a wall. This is my fault, he said. I was tired. She wanted to go home yesterday, and I became angry with her. I told her she was already home. His voice broke. She looked at me like I was a stranger. Leila didn't search for a beautiful English sentence. She touched his arm. We'll find her. A bus announcement sounded above them. Service to the ferry terminal, now boarding. Mr. Ellis suddenly lifted his head. The ferry, he said. We came from England by ferry many years ago before we were married. She talked about it last night. They ran toward the platform. Mrs. Ellis stood near the ticket barrier in her blue coat. She was speaking to a bus driver and holding an old postcard. Mr. Ellis stopped a few meters away. For a moment, he couldn't move. Leila walked toward Mrs. Ellis slowly. Hello, she said. The older woman looked at her. You work at the hotel. Yes, your husband is here. Mrs. Ellis looked past her and saw him. Her face changed. I wanted to go home, she said. Mr. Ellis reached her and took both her hands. I know, he whispered. I'm sorry. She looked down at the postcard. I couldn't remember the address. That's all right. We can go together. On the walk back, Mr. Ellis kept one arm around his wife. Leila walked beside them, wet and cold, but strangely calm. She had spoken for nearly 20 minutes without building sentences in Arabic first. She had asked questions, given directions, and comforted someone. She had made mistakes. She knew that, but her English had stayed alive. When they entered the hotel, Nora was waiting in the lobby. Mrs. Ellis, we're very happy you're safe, she said. Mr. Ellis thanked Tomas and Nora. Then he turned toward Leila. She found my wife, he said. More importantly, she understood what I was trying to say when I could hardly speak. Leila looked at the floor. Mr. Ellis continued, I spent 40 years teaching history. I used to tell nervous students that the perfect answer often arrives too late. Today, I forgot my own advice. He faced Leila. I'm sorry if I was impatient with you this week. You were worried about your wife. Yes, he said, but worry isn't a reason to be unkind. The next afternoon, Nora asked Leila to come to her office. The interview folder was on the table again. Leila sat down. Nora asked, "A tired guest arrives early, but their room isn't ready. What would you say?" Leila smiled. "I'd say, 'I'm sorry, your room isn't ready yet. Please sit in the lounge and I'll bring you some tea. I'll call you as soon as the room is ready." Nora waited. Leila's smile disappeared. "Was that wrong?" "No. I was waiting to see if you wanted to add anything." "No," Leila said. "That is enough." Nora smiled. "Yes, it is." She pushed a paper across the desk. It was an offer for a 3-month trial as a receptionist. Leila read it twice. "Why did you choose me?" "Because you know how to listen. Because you solve the real problem. Not only the language problem. And because when the situation became difficult, you stopped searching for perfect English and started communicating." Leila signed the paper. 3 months later, she stood behind the main reception desk wearing a new dark blue jacket with her name on it. A young hotel employee named Rafael approached her. He had recently arrived from Brazil and was training in the restaurant. "I need to call a guest," he said. "But my English is not ready." Leila remembered the interview room, the long silence, and the closed door inside her mind. "What do you need to tell the guest?" she asked. "His table is ready." "Then say that." Raphael looked worried. "Just that. Start with that." He picked up the phone. "Hello, Mr. Grant. Your table is ready now." He listened, smiled, and ended the call. "That was easy," he said. Leila looked across the bright hotel lobby. Guests moved through the doors. Phones rang. Suitcases rolled across the floor. Hundreds of words filled the air. She didn't try to catch everyone. She didn't translate the moment. She simply lived inside it.